Hey everybody, it's GoblinX, and welcome back to another draft of the October 2024 Arena Cube. Without further ado, let's just get into this thing. There's tons of excellent cards as always. The pack one pick one is always going to be up to debate and up to your personal taste, whatever kind of decks and archetypes you feel like playing or you're best at playing. Because there's so many powerful cards, there's so many directions to go. Usually I'm a huge fan of the Gear Hulk, the kind of big creature plus a big removal spell all in one. It's always excellent. But I'd like to try out some of the stuff that has not been in the cube as long. So I kind of like the idea of going for Overlord of the Hauntwoods. You get to play this as a 3 mana piece of ramp that also becomes a big creature that ramps even more later. So it could be a good headliner for a green rampy deck. A different direction from our first draft this time around. Now for pick 2, we get to continue down the ramp path with a Twitching Doll, and it's another card we haven't gotten to play with in the cube yet. Innkeeper's Talent is also pretty good, particularly if they put Vraska in this cube. You can get the Wombo combo where a level 3 Innkeeper's Talent plus a Vraska can one-shot your opponent. So that's pretty cool, but I think it's a little more narrow, and the Twitching Doll works kind of perfectly in the same kind of deck as the Overlord here, so just start nice and rampy. Feels pretty good, and let's head in that direction. Pick 3, we can continue being rampy, taking a Deathrite Shaman here. You do need to build around this one a little bit. Sorry, my water ball keeps cracking. You need to build around this one a little bit with some fetch lands that you take pretty highly, as well as self-mill and stuff like that, but it can also be mana ramp. The other option is to just take the fetch land. On-color fetches are pretty high picks because any triomes that we get or dual lands that we get can be tutored out by the fetch land. So this can end up being almost whatever colors you need out of anything. So fetch land's a pretty high pick. Plus, Overlord of the Hauntwoods actually works pretty great in a Golos deck. We have 3 ramp cards starting off taking Golos as well. We could go for Golos 5 color, and Field of the Dead is in the cube, and I do love some Golos Field of the Dead nonsense. So yeah, there's 3 really good options for a green ramp deck. Let's go big. Let's grab Golos here and see if we can pull off the full 5 color ramp again. The Overlord helps quite a bit with that. The land tokens it creates are all 5 land types. Pick 4, there's a Kogla to ramp into, or we can take one of these dual lands. I'm not the biggest fan of these. I would prefer dual lands with basic land types. Those would be fetchable if we get any fetch lands. Plus there's other cards that specifically search for cards with basic land types that these don't have. If these were shock lands, I might take one here, but I think I'm just going to go for the Kogla on this one. Green is very obviously going to be the core color. Here is a dual land with basic land types, so we can go for the commercial district there. Although again, incredibly powerful cards in the pack. Ramping into a Chandra could wipe the board if our opponent has all 3 toughness and less cards. So that's a thing. Kalidas is just kind of a big deal in general, but I think we take lands real highly for a Golos deck. Pick 6, there we go. Some basic land type duels, those are huge. Could also start taking some cheap removals, Strangle, Play with Fire, and stuff like that, but I think I'm going to go really, really heavy on mana fixing for now. Grab every land, every dual land that is a forest and some other type. And then as we move into pack 2 and pack 3, because we're just a green ramp deck at the core, we can make our secondary color whatever color we see the most cheap removal for later. So let's grab the breeding pool here. Pick number 7, now we can grab the Lush Portico. That is 3 different forest duels, which is pretty sweet. Tons of interaction in this pack, actually. Which is pretty wild, but we're going to go for the full Field of the Dead style plan. Just all the duels right now. Guess we could take Koglin Yadaro here. Actually, Metamorph is a colorless card. 3 mana for a copy of any creature or artifact on the battlefield. Still kind of want to take Godless Shrine. This might be taking Godless Shrine a little highly, though, since it isn't a forest in addition to its other types, and we don't know that we're going to open up a Field of the Dead or get past a Field of the Dead. And without Field of the Dead, you don't need actually a million different land types, but still, tutoring it off the Golos towards the black and the white mana for the 5 mana ability, or the 5 color ability, still feels good. Pick 9, Undercity Sewers. I'm going to stick to that initial plan of keeping that secondary color open until pack 2, using that pack to decide based on what we see the most removal for then. Although there are some really nice cards. Fell the Propane is good because if you play it as a land, it's another land for Field of the Dead. You need 7 differently named lands for that. And then it's also a removal spell. And then Carnosaur is good because it's a big top end threat and also a cheap removal spell. So those are actually enough better than the green card. I'll take one of those. And I'm just full Field of the Dead gamble mode. I'm going to be so depressed if we don't open up a Field of the Dead this draft, but it happens. We'll see. 12. All nonsense for the most part. 13. Kalitas. Yep, that's a lot of lifelink and threats. Alright, pack 2. What do we have here? We have no Field of the Dead, but we do have a fetch land. And this is what I'm talking about with fetch lands. This can currently find any color in our deck. We can crack this for a black-white land because we have Godless Shrine, a blue-black land because we have Undercity Sewers, a red-green land because we have Commercial District, and that's all 5 colors right there. White, black, blue, red, green. So this is where the fetch lands become incredible since you have all these lands with the basic land type. So I'm going to take it really, really highly here. Sunfall could give us a pretty clear secondary color. Just go green with like white control board wipes and stuff in the deck. That would be fine. But I'm just going to have the most consistent mana base in the universe and play whatever I want. Pack 2, pick 2, Misty Rainforest. We take those quite literally. Join the party, fetch land. And that is also literally any color. Okay. Pack 2, pick 3. Now we have a pick. There's no fetch land here. So we likely want some removal. We are deeper towards black than anything else here. But our mana is so good we could kind of play whatever we want. So we could try to discard the right card to an ill-timed explosion to make this a board wipe. Or we could just take the more consistent removal spell of Long Goodbye. Time Warp's a fun one. I think it's only like really good if you're deep into blue where you can find ways to flash it back and stuff. I don't know about a 5-color Time Warp deck being particularly good. And while we are a bit rampy, 7 mana is still a lot, so Titan of Industry might be a little bold. Feel like Long Goodbye is the safest pick, but the Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna is kind of spicy here. Certainly got the fixing to use both halves, and having our removal spell stacked onto a huge card draw engine feels like it could be good here. So I'm gonna grab the Roaring Furnace. Whew, Verdant Catacombs. This mana is gonna be so good. So many fetches here. If we're super lucky and we get Knight of the Reliquary back, that's gonna be massive with all our fetches, which will be fun. But also either of these dual lands or triumphs would be incredibly good for us. Pick 5. No respect for fetch lands. The easiest 5-color mana base ever. I'm just taking every land. I'm taking every land, and then I guess we're going to have to run every single spell that we draft because I've spent so many picks on lands because there's so many fetch lands running around. And now I want to Triumph because fetch lands plus Triumphs is such good mana. Whatever. There's so many good, powerful, replaceable finishers and spells in general that if your mana base is so good that you have whatever color you need at all times, then you can just run any 23 cards and have a deck, basically. I mean, we'll put that to the test here. We really will, because here's a shock land again. Oh, boy. This is going to be a goofy one for sure. I guess there's a Lutri in the companion zone, because that's a free companion every time. Yeah, we'll take that. Oh, I can put it in the companion slot? Hey. Oh. No, I can't. Oh, it puts it in the sideboard for me. Okay. Finally, no lands. I can make a pick. We can play a spell here. Phantasmal Image. When you have a bunch of good high mana value creatures, this is a sick draw later where you make a 2 mana Golos or something. I like the image here. And it's any creature on the battlefield, so you can like play it as a blocker too. Try it out. It's new to Arena. It's a really fun one. Zimone's great with ramp. Spits out the 3/3 when you play her on turn 3. And then you ramp up, you get your 5th mana, you get a 5/5, get your 7th, get a 7/7, so on from there. Pick 10, Prismari commands some interaction here. It's going to be huge, but Carwow Nation is also kind of an auto winner. I think we need a little more interaction right now. We've got some good top-end threats. Golos, Overlord, Kogla, Zimone even counts. So I don't think we need the crab as much. Let's grab the command here. More ways to deal with our opponent's early threats. And speaking of dealing with our opponent's early threats, there's no real finishers here. So we'll take the removal again, grab the ill-timed explosion for a potential board wipe. Pick 12, shove aside to deal with the early threats. The Knight of the Reliquary is so big with fetches, but doesn't actually ramp you, just fixes your mana. This is probably the most Knight of the Reliquary deck you could possibly draft, and I still don't think it's actually that good. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I took it there over the removal, so we can try it out. Yeah, it's probably Mastermind over Duelist. Haven Interrupter. Pack 3, pick 1. Fetch land. Oh, Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead. Oh my god. Field of the Dead, plus we have like 4 fetches in here. So if I have 7 lands, I go fetch land 2/2, crack it, grab a land 2/2. Oh my god. I'm living the dream. Can't touch this. The Crashing Footfalls. We can cast it for free off of Golos. That's fun. Without having to suspend it that way. Oh, but Uro's got to be sick in here, right? We're definitely a lands deck. We have Golos Field. Yeah, Uro seems like the sickness right now. We easily have 7 land types for Field of the Dead every single time. We don't need to spend picks on any lands that don't have basic land types or are a fetch land. So let's just grab the Uro there. Sick stuff for a lands deck. Pack 3, pick 3. Once again, these dual lands do not have land types, so we can spend the pick on interaction to stay alive. And now that Field of the Dead is a finisher as well, we really don't need any more big explosive top end cards. They'd be fun, but they're unnecessary. So I'm just going to take like the Abrupt Decay here for the cheap removal. Pick 4. Swamp Mountain looks fine. Removal looks fine. There's obviously some massive finishers here, but they're unnecessary for the deck. But out of any of them, the Overlord's pretty insane. Could go Captivating Crossroads as well. That's whatever color we need to play it as, so it's flexible fixing. Crossroads, Theater, Druid ramps as well, and fixes, which is nice. A lot of very reasonable options here, but I'm going to go for the Crossroads. Well, am I even going to have room for it with how many lands I've drafted? You know what? I might not have room for it with the amount of lands I've drafted, so I'm just going to take a removal spell there for a little more interaction. Pick 5. Crucius is always absurd. Discard a land to get a guaranteed non-land is one of the spiciest things it does, and it makes a treasure every time you do it. Or if you have one of your big, 6-drop finishers and not enough mana, you can crack that and know that you're going to get a land or a cheap spell off the Crucius. I like the flexibility of Crucius here, and again, we kind of just disregard our mana values with how many fetches and duels and triumphs we got here. Pick 6. I like Glorybringer as a big enough flying threat to be a finisher as well as a removal spell. All in the one card. The 2-for-1 value off of it is pretty great. It's the most generically good card here, and that's kind of what we want when we are all colors nonsense. Although Solemn would be fine too. Pick 7. Murderous Cut probably. Again, just the most generically good removal. Looks like what we need here. Sure thing. Murderous Cut into the deck. How many lands have I drafted? 12 lands. I want to see if maybe we get to the point where we have no basics and we just play every single card that we draft. Like here, I get to take Xander's Lounge for the Triumph because we have the fetches. That's a very clear pick. That's 13 lands drafted. Here's a Triumph because we have the fetches. Another pretty clear pick, although the Cold Steel Heart is certainly competition. But this would be 14th land. If anybody Path to Exiles us, they're going to have a great time because we are not going to have the basics to grab. Looking at the curve here, I think we're fine taking another finisher when there's no removal here. I guess Garruk sort of, but I'll take another finisher. Come on in, Elspeth. She's also board wipe, right? Oh, she only kills the big creatures, so not really, but sort of. Collective Defiance is a little difficult to cast. But I don't think I'm playing the Catacomb. Maybe. We've got a lot of black in the deck. There's not so much blue. We're definitely not playing Mutavault. So we'll play the Overlord here. Thundering Falls for sure. It's got the land types. Memory Deluge is a good draw. And Scholars, whatever. Okay. I completely forgot we have a companion too. We have Lutri. For free. No deck building requirements on that one. We're certainly playing 17 lands minimum here. I only need to cut 3 cards, and running the Forest is definitely the basic that we want in the deck, because the Forest gives us all of our fixing. We've got a Fell as the 18th land. Yeah, we've got a Fell as the 18th land, so let's just cut 3 cards. This is going to be a sweet, sweet deck here. What an absolute pile in the best way possible. Probably the double white. A little difficult there. Discard an instant sorcerer, creature with flying. It's not very consistent for us. Get to see how well neither Reliquary plus Fetches plays out. Let's drop those 2. Still need to get rid of 1 more card. It's definitely another creature here. I feel like Knight of the Reliquary is likely the correct cut. Maybe it's Kalidas or something. Doubt it's the Overlord. Either one. It's definitely not the green Overlord. Maybe Kogla being triple green is actually difficult. Yeah, I mean, I still got win conditions. Got Glorybringer, 2 Overlords, a Zamone, an Uro, an Elspeth, and neither Reliquary. That'll be gigantic. Still got non-Kogla win cons there. Oh, it wants to put a mountain in when I do that. Spicy, but not what I'm going to do here. Still putting in the 1 forest. Did we have any of the fixing that we played? Did it care about basics specifically? No. Okay, that's good. All right. Well, really spicy deck this time around. I'm super excited for this one. So let's just get in there with our Golos Field of the Dead Fetch Lands deck and just jam. All right, here we are for game 1. Perfect little hand here, the Overlord. And the Bloodstained Mire, of course, being literally whatever color we need. I hope we have a black-red duel specifically. That would be very useful. Here's Twitching Doll. Twitching Doll into the Overlord. She's going to just have perfect mana before I even play the Bloodstained Mire. Ledger Shredder, that is not removal for Twitching Doll. Love that. That means I can spend the Mire on a tap land now. Instead of having to get a shock and shooting myself. Alright, a little too late on the Twitching Doll removal for our opponent, because our mana is perfect regardless. There's the Consider. Okay, so I've got, with everywhere I have one of any kind, I don't need a green source. I have 2 actual greens and I have a blue, so we're getting... I've got a white, green, black in hand as well. We're getting something red off of Bloodstained Mire for sure. I guess looks like red, black, ideally. Do we have a red, black, white triumph or something like that? Red, blue, green, red, blue, black. That's close enough. That's good for me. Okay, there's a Fell. Kalida's Fanged Flames is actually a bit of a nombo. It's in the Fanged Flames exile, so the Kalidas doesn't trigger. A little awkward. Alright, we can play a Triumph, hold up a Fell. And when we don't Fell, we just drop a Fairy Mastermind. Probably better to just get rid of the Ledger Shredder and make sure they can't do any nonsense. I guess if Fanged Flames was instant speed, that would be kind of perfect there, because then I could Mastermind in response to their Connive so that I get to draw a card and then still kill that thing before it gets any bigger. But having the sorcery speed for removal for it's a little bit awkward. Let's jam. Let's jam. They're down to 14 now. Ooh, in the pass. Ooh, in the Field of the Dead. Guess who's about to get zombies? I don't really want to overextend here into a Languish or something like -4/-4 to everybody, so I'm just going to hold Kalidas for now. Yeah, I think we put Lutri in hand then. Alright, kill the Overlord. Liliana. Well, Liliana's real awkward with unable to scream. I just sack the Overlord. Alright. Bye, Overlord.
Off you go.
And we find the blue Overlord. That's fun. Let's see if I draw the land naturally so I don't have to play Fell. Oh boy, did we draw the land. Goodbye, Lutri. It's a double trigger? Woo, baby. This is the dream deck, man. This is so fun.
When they hit back.
We just don't even need to look at the mana costs. Everything is just free. There's the concession from our opponent. We are 1-0 heading into game 2. Alright, here we are on the draw for game 2. Our one issue here is the lack of a red source. As soon as we find a red mana, we'll be doing phenomenal. Ooh, turn 1 super fancy Birds of Paradise. It's pretty beautiful. Very cool start for our opponent. But we have the turn 3 Overlord to help find the mana we need. But it looks like our opponent's having a better time. 5-color Mana Dork into 5-color Mana Dork is the turn 1 and turn 2 play when they are on the play already. So we are pretty quickly falling behind here. They have 5 mana on turn 3. That's not ideal. But we have all our black removal spells available very soon. Yikes. 4/4 Trample Haste that dies into a bunch of treasure tokens is the play here. I need to do some digging. There's the red. The Tribal Flames is huge too. Does enter tapped, which is awkward. Already got 1 green. Yeah, we ditched the pool. It's probably going to be a little too much too fast because these man dorks on the play. Oh, yeah. Turn 3 Gold Vein Hydra, turn 4 Primeval Titan, and that's gonna do us in here. We're going to 12, and our red source is tapped. Alright. May have had a tiny shot on the play. Yeah, we would have had the Golos coming up too, but not on the draw here. Yeah, oh my god. Alright, turn 4 Gold Vein, turn 5 Primeval, turn 6 Crater Hoof. There was still a tiny chance there, right? If they didn't have the follow through from there, if they just played another big 6/6 trample or something without haste, our next turn we could Fanged Flames the Hydra and exile it. Just take damage from the 6/6 the next turn, still be at a tiny bit of life, and then Tribal Flames or Pile On or, throw some other removal at the 6/6 thing. But yeah, the Crater of turn 6. All right, that was gross. Really good curve out from our opponent on the play, all the ramp, and it is 1-1 heading into game 3. Game 3 on the draw again, but beautiful mana, all 5 colors at the ready. Knight of the Reliquary, turn 3 with Forests and Plains to sack. There's a Crucius as well, which ramps us up with those treasure tokens. Bristly Bill is the start from our opponent. There's Uro that ramps us up too. We need green for sure. Simone? Oh my god. I can do all the things. This is a super win on the play. But we're under some pressure here on the draw. Because Bill's going before Simone is. Ooh, nice little combo from our opponent. Draw a card, discard the creature, and then reanimate it. Yikes. The creature also puts lands onto the board with the Bristly Bill. Starting to look like we should have been on the play, and now we're just dead. Yeah, this is really not good. Need to ramp quite badly, but if I do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 damage minimum, go to 16, take 9, go to 7. But then I could maybe Glorybringer next turn, but that's not enough to wipe out a full board. Yeah, I just need Simone. Well, they missed lands, but they still had another one from earlier. The Wandering Emperor, too. Oh, Cube.
Ready to lose. The edge in this fight.
Well, nothing really beats that except a Day of Judgment. So, if we were playing any deck except a white-based control deck, that is an auto-lose curve out from our opponent again, and we are 1-2 heading into game 4. No, not on the draw 3 times in a row. Is this going to end it all for us? We'll find out soon enough. The hand's wonderful. We've got the Uro to get the ramp going. We have 2 pieces of removal. Misty. And they crack it. For a shock land, turn 1 birds or something? No, just for an island. Alright. Plop down our green source. That's always tapped. Plop down the other Triome that's always tapped. And then play an untapped land for Uro. Paulo, why? Paulo was one of my favorite pros, and then he had to go and make this card, and now I just associate his face on this card, and now I'm like, ugh, Paulo Vitor Damo de Rosa, get out of my life, please. We can put a Lutri in hand or just play a tap land. Let's set up the draw here because Lutri doesn't really do anything here. Oh, we keep that. Play Catacombs here, I can pile on or Memory Deluge, or just get a tap land. I think I'm just playing the untapped land, because I'm going to... I'm gonna do pile on or Deluge. There's no way I'm not gonna do one of the two. Alright, counter this Deluge, please. They did not. So now they might have the counterspell for Glorybringers still. Another fetch land is certainly good. I guess it's better to try to kill Spellbinder with Pile on or Murderous Cut than it is to do it with Glorybringer. Yeah, we don't want to just run Glorybringer into a counterspell. And because whatever removal we're going to cast is just going to run into a counterspell, we want to do it during their turn to soak up some of their mana. Oh, where that works. 2 to any target. I could actually kill the Wandering Emperor with this Prismari command if I Murderous Cut the Spellbinder. Sure. If they minus it here.
You started this fight, but I'm going to end it.
Wait, they're not using any abilities? Weird. I guess I can't double up, right? Because if I crack this for cut, that's still 4 mana. Yeah, I'd have to Prismari command first and then Murderous Cut. Sickness. Deal 2, draw 2, discard 2. Deal 2 to that. I will draw 2, discard 2. Discard. Kalidas. Spell.
I guess
4 cards in grave. Murder's Cut. Ooh, shoot. No, I need to crack this first. Oh, this is so much to do. I'm sorry, Arena. Cube is hard. So I don't want to exile my flashback card. There we go.
keep watch for intruders.
Now we just Golos into the Field of the Dead if they ever tap out. Till then, we start playing our second best threat each turn. Hey, look who tapped out. Elspeth is scary, though. But Golos Field is some good defense against that, especially Golos Field Phantasmal Image. Yeah. We do this first, so that Field of the Dead is on board when I play a fetch. Ka-ching! Enduring. Oh my god, Enduring Innocence Elspeth? Is that once per turn? Oh, thank god. Okay, it's once per turn. So they draw one card off of making 3/1/1s. Thought they were about to draw three. Hello, Tamio. Draw their third card in return to trigger her.
Useful text down on the surface.
I'm gonna have to beat a lot of 1/1s here. Surveil land, definitely. Don't mind an Overlord. Actually, Phantasmal Image the Glorybringer. Oh yeah, unless they just counter it here. That would work. Maybe not. I am at 10. Which is an issue. Could still just die to all these 1/1s. So probably have instant speed removal here. Kill one of the Glorybringers to make sure Elspeth lives. I don't expect these to be super long for the world, so I'm just going to exert them both. The Enduring Innocence is one of the cards that they'll still retain its ability if I kill it. It just won't be a creature anymore. Oh, I guess I should have just double exerted the Tamio. I guess even if I did... Wow, Tidebinder is disgusting here. Because even if I did double exert Tamio, Tidebinder shuts off the creature's flying forever. Such a weird design. But it really works well here. It's where I could only hit Elspeth for 4 no matter what. Well, I stop her from ultimating there. That soon. But we might have to just cast a pylon on Elspeth. Maybe that would have been the better line. Just immediately try to do that. Because they didn't have like a counterspell. They had a counter an ability spell. It was really not what I was expecting. From the blue deck, I was expecting like an actual factual counterspell. To where the pylon just gets countered. They attack with Tamio, get the clue, they can. Draw the card, flip Tamio off the clue. Reduce our attacking creature's power, that part doesn't matter, but return an instant or sorcery from grave to hand is sketchy. I guess they can't do that yet. Oh, they don't even have an instant or sorcery in grave somehow. Go big or go home, they say. I guess I can pile on the Elspeth here. Before they draw another card to have a chance at another counter. Over the Lord triggers Field of the Dead and gives me a 6/5, so that's 2 blockers off 1 spell. That's gotta be worth it. No instant sorceries in their grave still.
Think before you act.
Two non-creature non-lands from the top four going to their hand here, finding Teferi and Day of Judgments. Now that their Elspeth's gone, Day of Judgment is a real option. It's our best play around Day of Judgment here. Just Uro and hold off for now. Gain a little life. The problem is now they get to Day of Judgment and then Tameo the Day of Judgment back. Ugh. Feel like they've got it there off that. If I attack too hard, they just crack back. So I can't like kill the Tameo here, and they could just trump if they really wanted. But they would just let Tameo die and then hit me back 7. I actually only have 4 power on this board in the first place because the Tameo minuses. Yeah, no, I think they got me here. Was slightly close though, so goes back to our whole thing we were talking about in the earlier games. Probably winnable if we're on the play, but we were triple on the draw here, which is depressing. All right. Day of Judgment, Tameo back to Day of Judgment. Take over the game with a Teferi, Tameo, Dream Team. Yeah, just endless copies of Day of Judgment with Tameo. Oh, they're actually just... Oh, well, if they're gonna Day of Judgment, they might as well hit me. Never mind. I was gonna say, oh, they're actually trying to kill me. No, they're just getting the damage that they can in first. Yep.
I am not defenseless.
Furnace can't shoot planeswalkers.
No matter the time or place, our knowledge is meant to be shared.
Pretty dang unlikely, but technically possible they mill out. Four mana up if I do this for 3, but that doesn't even do anything. It's the ult. Draw half your library. And they don't need the ult, they just need the Day of Judgment this.
A good story can refresh the mind.
My first time playing against this Tameo, and I gotta say, it's pretty annoying. You can pick back a board wipe every turn. Every other turn, because it's 3 loyalty to do that. She only has a +2, not a +3. So every few turns. Yeah. Alright, well, this Planeswalker team just has the game controlled. The Wombo Combo Dream Team has arrived, and we are out of it at 1-3. Incredibly disappointing run for this deck, but it is what it is. I'm sure we could have played a bit better. I don't know if we could have won any of those games, but it's possible. But again, the biggest factor working against us there was tempo loss being on the play there being pretty large. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we had an opportunity to kill Tamio. We could have killed Tamio instead of Elspeth, but then we just lose to Elspeth. I don't know if we could have dealt with both of them. But the really the game ending turn was when they drew into the Day of Judgment off of the Offspring card. That locked us out of it. Without the Day of Judgment, we had so many ways to get that gigantic army to get in. So, yeah. Again, we looked at the grave when they had the Tamio. I think with all the information we had at the time, we shouldn't have killed Tamio because they had literally no instants and sorceries. So, I don't know. I don't think I played it perfectly, but I don't think I played it super bad there. Just kind of is what it is. Deck was still really fun. Pretty happy with the draft and the deck that we ended up with. The gameplay was just pretty sad today. As you can see from game one, just like the perfect mana, that was super fun. Game two, we even had all of our colors. We just had it too slowly on the draw there because we had to play tapped red sources to get to the red removal. So, again, game two on the play, I think we could win. Or we'd at least be in contention there because we would have the removal up in time for their creatures. We would have our Zamone out before their first attack. That was so big there, which would have meant a significantly reduced amount of damage from Bill and all that stuff. So we actually get trades there. So, second game definitely felt the most winnable of our losses, but that will do it. 1-3 for this deck. Pretty sad one this time around, but that just means we have to go hop into another cube draft. So that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this and you're interested in seeing some more like it, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.